Hello, everybody. Welcome to WikiTree 2023. My name is Sandy, and guess what everybody's doing? They're greeting. This is the Greeters Project. I am so excited. You guys are awesome. How many times have you been to a restaurant and you've been greeted and told, wait, I'll be right back? Or how many in your table and we'll get you a seat? Well, guess what? All these individuals here are greeters for WikiTree. So when somebody comes into WikiTree, they're greeted and they feel at home. Isn't that great? I am going to pass this off to Pip. We've got a lot to talk about today. I will see you guys at the end because I'm going to be watching and learning as we go through.
Great to have all you guys here, and I want to thank especially my fellow greeters who are with me in this part of the today. We've got Hillary in Wales and John in Oklahoma. Nikki is in New York, is that right? And Jenny is in Texas. Did I cover everybody? I think I did. What you're seeing is the Greeters Project page, and you can find this in your help menu. You can go to Find and Projects and look for Greeters in the top of the functional project. You'll see this, and that's where you find it right there. And so we have a few requirements that we look for, a few things we look for in a greeter. We want someone who has signed the honor code, who's been a member for at least 45 days, has made over 100 non-GEDCOM contributions. We need somebody who's able to communicate with guests and new members in a friendly, helpful manner. You also need to be able to edit profiles, post messages, use email. You also need to have a good understanding of WikiTree principles and procedures, where to find the answers. That is probably the biggie right there. If you're getting emails from new members, you need to know where to find information to help them or point them to it. We usually try to point them to the help pages with links and stuff. We also need people who work at least 1 hour a week. We do have a training program ahead of time so that you know exactly what your duties are, but only 1 hour a week. And we would love to have you guys join us if you have interested in that. And we also need somebody who's not been in an interim situation or referral badge within the last 3 months. Sandy, if you'll scroll down a bit, and we go to there's the link to the welcome post there. And so you get a groups badge, you get the necessary permission for pages, you add it to the group. And so this is the task list that we have for these. We monitor guest fee, activity fees, family member fees, honor codes, and P1700 fees during scheduled shifts. We greet new members with personalized messages, including links on the how-to pages. Post welcome messages to guests. We help guests who need help upgrading. We answer questions either through a direct message or comment on their own profile or our profiles who need help. And one of the really biggies that people don't know what readers do, we look for spammers and vandals, people who are trying to get into WikiTree. They're not here for genealogical purposes. We catch these quite often. I've noticed that a lot of my fellow greeters here will nod their heads and say, yes, we have caught spammers coming in, poker sites, casino sites, needing help with writing sites.
Selling Viagra.
Yes, yeah, we've actually had. We have a too. That's correct. We have a greeter schedule. We use Google Calendar to help do that, and we train people how to put their names in for an hour or more hours if they wish. We have lots of greeters who greet more than 1 hour. And so we be sure that we're in touch with each other all the time, and we use the Google group to do this. And we make sure that we familiarize ourselves with the help pages. And there are some links for greeters so that we'll have them handy in case they need them. including some sample message pages for some specific situations. That's it for how to do that. We'd love to have you. And now here's our wonderful greeters.
How y'all doing?
John, who participates in the chat, and he's also the ranger who follows me on Wednesdays. Hillary, we're so glad to have Hillary. She works that early morning shift when America is still asleep, and that helps a lot. Jenny follows me on Sundays and Mondays. Nikki is the one I follow on several days. So it's great to have you guys here joining with us today.
Pleasure to be here.
I have some questions I'm going to ask you. Let you just go round robin and answer them as you wish. My first question for you is, what do you interpret as your main duty while you're greeting? Up for grabs.
Watching the feeds carefully and taking care of any problems as they pop up. That's basically what I feel like our main issue. I mean, our main project is to watch the feeds and greet everybody in a timely manner and take care of potential problems.
Putting out fires.
Yeah,
when necessary.
Yeah.
I would say that those things come across, like John saying, and Jenny has said, we do have things that we need to take care of like that. But the main part, like Jenny says, we're greeting new people coming in. A lot of those do not respond to our messages, but we're there in case they need us. And so that's probably a thing that we have to do most frequently. It's actually pretty neat.
We're making everybody that comes in feel like they're important and that they're welcome to the community.
Yes. I bet all of you have gotten messages from occasionally from new members who say thank you for posting the message, thank you for posting the link. Not everybody responds, but a lot of people do, and it makes for a real pleasant time being online, actually.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's not even, it's just thank you. I don't have any questions now, but just thank you for saying hi. And
yeah,
or I get the occasional, who are you and why are you sending me messages?
Occasionally. Occasionally.
I have to tell you a funny story about that. I got a guy, this is a couple of years ago, who wrote me and thought that sent me a message and thought that I was a bot. That I was,
I got accused of that the other day.
Yeah, it's a canned message, but it's actually, a real person that's doing the greeting. And so I had to bust his bubble for, thinking that we were mechanized way of doing things. It was actually human beings who were doing the greeting. What is the favorite part that you like about your work as a greeter?
I just like jumping in and a lot of times I'll fill in and there's been some space, some hours before I come on, and I like getting in and getting things caught up, keeping things nice and neat and tidy. And sometimes it's the whole time you're catching up to your whole shift. I mean, it takes a long. You coming in, there's a lot of big spaces ahead of you, and you got to get in there and just put your head down and get to work.
Right, that's correct.
Yeah, I think the two shifts that I do are both catch up ones, because there's usually quite a bit of time beforehand when there's not been when we just haven't got enough greeters. So I'm catching up. I know that full well that most of the people that I'm sending messages to will perhaps have shut their computer down and gone to bed. So I quite often get the tail end of the US, and I quite often get people that are in New Zealand or Australia as well, that are on the shift that I do. It's usually too early for people in the UK, because a lot of the people in the UK do go on their computers in the evening once they've finished work. So it's very rare that but sometimes I will.
Yeah, exactly. Jenny, what's your favorite part of greeting?
I think it's been covered. My favorite part is just getting to see the new members and help them when I can, because we get a lot of questions, like you said, and I like to try to answer those in a timely manner. And some of them are really, really good questions, and some of them are totally lost.
Yes, that is
And
true.
so it's fun to get to help those people.
And it's also fun to learn new things because someone will ask you a question. You're like,
Right.
how do I do that?
Yeah, let me look that up.
I don't know the answer to that, but by golly, I'm going to figure it out for you.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Mickey brought up a good point. Sometimes there'll be something technical or something that we don't know, and it'll help us to grow as WikiTreeers by having people ask us questions. And I would like to mention something about what John just said. I mean, sometimes we're doing a lot of catch up, and the reason that we have a lot of catch up is because we don't have enough greeters to cover all the hours in the day. I noticed that John pops in regularly to help cover. I know that Mickey has sometimes been almost overwhelmed by the number of people in the feeds who have not been greeted yet. We all see that. My Monday morning shift usually comes in. We have somebody in Australia who covers in the middle of the night, and by the time I get on Monday mornings, I'll have 60 people to greet, and there'll be 30 upgrade messages to post. There'll be about 15 honor code messages to post, and maybe one or two pre-1700. So I know Mickey's dealt with that because I've tried to help out with doing the catch up and stuff like that. So,
if I might add, another favorite thing of mine is sometimes I have helped somebody, I've greeted them, one of the greetings or another, and they'll have a question or two and I'll help them. And then sometimes 6 months or a year later, they will contact me again and say, I don't quite know what to do with this. Can you help me? And I love that. I've had 2 or 3 of them that have come back for like 2 or 3 years and asked questions like that.
that's true. You know, sometimes it's not like an immediate response that we get. It's later on down the line, something new will come up. Maybe they haven't worked much yet, or maybe they've been working along with something new that they need help with. That's a good point, Jenny.
Just the familiarity of you that you greeted them. That's their contact point. That's
right. Right.
Yes, it is. It's almost like they kind of save us in the back of their mind, and when it comes up, oh yeah, I know somebody who can help.
Yeah.
Our greeting process is not just during our greeter slot or slots that we take. I know that we have several greeters who work many hours.
Yeah.
I work 11 usually. I know that Cheryl Moore works really long slots, one right after the other, many slots. And John picks up. Hillary jumps in occasionally. Mickey has hers at night right before I come on. So she's about ready to go to bed.
Well, it's helped with Chandra came back, so now she does part of the afternoon. So she gets stuck with more of the catch up than I do now.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. I really am. So it's really nice how we work together when we see open slots and we've got the time. Ideally, we would love to have enough greeters to cover all the slots, even if they took more than 1 hour. But if you look at the greeters calendar, and we all 5 of us do, there are always open slots, and we desperately need more greeters. What's the most difficult part of greeting for you guys? Most difficult part?
Answering. Somebody thinks you can answer their genealogy question, and they're nearly always asking a question about something that is not in an area where you usually research, and you just don't know the answer, and you just try to get them to put the question onto G2G, which obviously not everybody's going to be familiar with, but it's obviously a better place for them to be asking a general genealogy question. I'm quite happy to help anybody with the areas that I do my research in, but most of the people that I have greeted have not necessarily got questions in that area. So.
Correct. Yes, I've gotten a few of those too. And one of the things we try to stress so that greeters are not overwhelmed is, is that we don't do genealogy work for new people. Like Hillary said, we try to point them to G2G, They can ask their question there for membership wide, and they will find somebody who's working in that area. Areas that I'm not familiar with are, for example, research in French records. And so I would, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll put a link as a message to them about a project that can help them further their genealogical goals, and like Hillary said, point them to G2G to ask. Anybody else have a difficult part of greeting?
For me, it's I have a bit of social anxiety, so that helps me. I jump in and talk to people, and it's not face to face, which is hard for me sometimes.
Right.
And so that helps me out a lot dealing with that. It's just one of the baby step things that I always go through. So
Yeah, right. There are only a few that I've actually kept in contact with. I mean, we've multiplied messages and shared work and stuff like that. Outside of asking a genealogy question, and that's really kind of a nice thing.
Yeah,
it's always great to hear from members who remember that we greeted them. We meet them in another project or something like that. That's really kind of a nice thing. It really is.
Yeah.
Anybody else about anything difficult that you have to deal with while you're greeting?
No, you covered it.
We pretty much covered that. I think for all of us is making sure that if we have a scheduling conflict, we have visitors coming in. For example, I have some friends coming from out of town this evening. Of course, I got home from church. I cleaned the house all day, and, now, and with 5 minutes to go, I was ready to be here. So I know that it would be rude for me to greet while I have guests at the house. And so what I do is send a message to all the greeters and let them know when about the slots that are going to be open. I also go to the calendar and mark that. So trying to keep my schedule and my greeter schedule synced sometimes is a little bit difficult. When I had my shoulder operation, I had an entire week that I could not greet. I was not allowed to be at the computer. Really, I wasn't supposed to be there for like 2 weeks, but I kind of went in back ahead.
Now.
And I feel an obligation to my fellow greeters that they're not always trying to, we already have a lot of open slots. Trying to cover somebody who's ill or got visitors or has an appointment somewhere. Greeters are really good about that. Getting the schedule synced, your personal schedule and your greeter schedule synced sometimes is difficult. But greeters always rise to the top. So,
Yes, they do.
Already got messages back from lots of folks that are covering for me tonight and tomorrow morning and tomorrow night, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. Wednesday night, I'll be okay. So I'll be back in, guys.
Well, and also, if we have questions, our fellow greeters all seem to be willing to help each other.
That's very true, Mickey. And I appreciate my fellow greeters for that. I love it when greeters ask questions in the Google group because that gives everybody a chance to help everybody out. You're not out there by yourself. Anytime, like Mickey says, you have a question, you're not sure about handling a certain situation, you can just ask in the group, and the group always responds. There's never a time when it doesn't happen. Okay, let's talk about one subject which I hesitate to bring up, but it is a necessary part of greeting. Let's talk about spammers and protecting WikiTree. I'll open it up to you guys.
Sometimes it can be difficult to identify somebody before they've actually posted any spam. Sometimes you think something's not quite right here. Is this person a spammer? And 9 times out of 10 you're going to be right, because you just get used to the sort of things they do. You get used to it. A lot of them are really obvious though.
Yeah, that's true.
Some of them are entertaining too.
That's true. That's true. I don't tend to get a lot of spammers. I guess it's the time that I'm in, and I do try to fill in some, but I haven't had too many on Sunday and Monday night at 9 p.m. I guess they're not awake yet because I know the people that greet later are when I'm asleep in Texas. I know they get them overnight. But yeah, watching out for that is, I don't understand why people do that, but I guess that's their entertainment. And our entertainment is catching them and saying goodbye to them.
That's correct. That's correct. Vicki, you had to deal with many spammers. Your time slot doesn't seem to be a big.
No, I don't get too many of them.
I think that when I come, like for example, when I come in and there's nobody been on for a while at night, and I'll come in on Monday morning, that's when sometimes I'll have as many as 3 spammers in the group that I'm catching up in, and we have all sorts of stuff. We've already mentioned a few. Viagra, thank you, John. Poker players, poker things, writing programs, casinos, but we also have had a few people join and post either in their biography or on commenting on somebody else's profile about porn sites. I have seen those that have come through too. And we have a process to handle that kind of work. So somebody explain the process. You know how to do it.
I've occasionally seen photographs posted as profile photographs that have seemingly have been somewhat inappropriate, I thought, for a genealogy site, but I haven't seen that for a long time.
Yeah. So
did you ask about our process, Pippin?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we go when we see something like that, we immediately do an email to our leaders, and it gets on up the line and they get blocked and deleted. And it's just that sometimes they might be there for a little while because if there's not a greeter on duty, then they've got some time to do their thing and post to other profiles, which when they're caught, those messages are deleted by the leaders.
Yeah, we have the process that we use. Like I said, we send it to the leaders of the greeter group. We also include the mediators, and we also include the team. So we have a lot of people with a lot of eyes, and I really want to commend our team that we have in WikiTree for responding so quickly to block and delete spammers that come through. It really just makes our job easier when we know that it's being taken care of quickly. So, if I'm posting, we'll have guys on the team and others who have the power to set up for a delete of the profile that is offending. It just makes our job easier, and we do truly appreciate the work that other people do to help us out. Really
we also have the rangers who are monitoring the feeds too, in a little bit different manner, but still they're not greeting people, but they're monitoring the feeds, and so that's kind of a backup for the greeters.
Yeah, I'd like to mention there on that point, Jenny, is that we as greeters don't work as rangers while we're greeting.
No.
For example, somebody who recertifies pre-1700 after having their badge taken away, we don't have to worry about that because that person, if they've had their badge taken away for whatever reason, they've got a mentor, and so we don't have to notify anybody that that's going on. It takes care of itself, so that helps a lot. I really have enjoyed working the project. I've been a member of the project since David Selman, my mentor and friend, also in Texas, asked me to become a greeter years ago, and just about a year ago, David and I moved up in the position of leaders of the greeters group. I think I've been here I'm guessing about 4 years that I've been a greeter now. Hillary was already a greeter.
Yeah, I was a greeter in 2014, 2015.
Oh,
I left because work was such that I couldn't carry on with the time. I did a lot more when I first was a greeter as well, and then I rejoined the project. I can't remember, 2018 probably, or maybe before that.
Yeah.
I've been a greeter a long time.
Yeah.
I tell you, one of my favorite things to happen is for somebody to upgrade who joined in 2010 or 11, and Aylin or Chris Witten or Julie
Mhm.
were the ones who actually greeted them. It's just really great. We just do
Yeah.
that.
That I've had quite a few of those during the years I've been a greeter, and it is pretty special when you see something like that.
Somebody I greeted a long time ago, and they come up on the
Yeah.
on one of the feeds. That is really good.
Yeah.
It really is. Before we go, I want to thank some people. I want to thank you for joining me today. I want to thank everybody that's out there too. I also want to thank David Selman, my friend and mentor from Texas, who asked me to be a greeter and is a co-leader of the project with me. I also want to thank Aylin and Julie, because without them, we could not do the job that we do. We love them so much, and we appreciate their help.
Then I would like to thank each of you, and I would like to thank my greeter, which was Mags. Mags was my greeter for a long time. And I'd like to thank each of you. And I want to stress something that Pip mentioned very early on, and somebody mentioned, if you are looking for a way to volunteer a little bit more with WikiTree, Greeters is a great project to start with. Why?
Yep.
1 hour a week. That's all they're asking for. 1 little hour a week commitment. You can take many if you rather have more, but 1 hour a week is all you need. And it's just a good way to see what it's like to help behind the scenes and help meet new people coming into WikiTree. We all love being greeted. So I'd like to thank all of you greeters for being here. And I'd like to thank everybody watching live and after the fact. If you're seeing this message, head over to the greeters page. Volunteer. Join them.
Thank you, Sandy, so much. Thank you, everyone.
No problem. Happy WikiTree
Bye-bye.
Day 2020.
Happy WikiTree Day.
Bye.
WikiTree Day, everyone.